ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ്. മാറ്റിനി ഫിലിമിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. അതുപോലെ ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ ടെക്നോളജി പാർട്ടാണ് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. പ്രധാനമായിട്ടും ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ഇലക്ട്രിക് കാറുകൾ ഓടിത്തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് കുറെ കാലഘട്ടമായി. പക്ഷെ അതിന്റെ ഒരു പൂർണ്ണത എന്താണ് എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഇന്നത്തെ വിഷയം. എക്സിറ്റ് ഫ്രം പെട്രോൾ ആൻഡ് ഡീസൽ കാർസ്. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നമ്മുടെ എക്കണോമിയുടെ ഒരു ഭാഗമായിട്ട് തന്നെ ഇതിനെ കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാം. അപ്പൊ ഇന്ന് നമ്മളോട് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ കണ്ണൻ സാറാണ്. സാറ് വിഷയത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് ആധികാരികമായി മനസ്സിലാക്കിക്കൊണ്ട് നമ്മോട് സംസാരിക്കും. നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവരും ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാമിലേക്ക് ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. അതോടൊപ്പം കണ്ണൻ സാറിനെയും. കണ്ണൻ സാർ, യു ആർ വെൽക്കം.
Thank you, Sabu. Thank you very much. At the outset, thanks once again to Sabu for this opportunity to talk on yet another techno-economic subject. So let me start saying that our country is going through a very, very challenging phase on our economic growth issues. There's no doubt that we have capacity, we have capability. We have those, but we have compelling constraints and conflicting challenges ahead of us. And we have to overcome them to make sure the economy grows. And some of these constraints and challenges some are in the social sector, some are in the technical area. So I will focus more on the technical part today. One of the major technical challenges pertains to our unyielding carbon emission taking place from the country. We are already number 3 in the world as far as carbon emissions are concerned. And we have a commitment that by 2030, that we would reduce our carbon emission level by 1,000 million tons equivalent. 1,000 million tons. That is 1 billion ton. We have to reduce by 2030. It is our commitment to the international body. So that is a major challenge. And one of the constituents of this carbon emission is from the transportation sector. This transportation sector occupies a significant part of the overall carbon emission. Many countries have progressively shifted to e-mobility or electric mobility to overcome their problems of carbon emission due to transportation. We are going to discuss this as far as India is concerned. Where are we? And how are you going to progress? What will happen to all the petrol and diesel cars which are there in the country? Obviously, they have to give way for electric cars. How will this happen? When it will happen? What do customers like you and me do when this transition is taking place? This subject may be of significant interest to some of you. You may be in the verge of buying a new car. You may be wanting to buy a petrol car or diesel car or an electric car. So you can take a well-informed decision after I speak to you and give some more details on this issue. I'm sure you may have some question answers, which we can see at the end of the talk. So with this, I will upload my presentation. Sabu, I'll upload my presentation. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. So when will India be free from petrol and diesel cars is the issue. That means we won't have any more pollution from, I'm only talking about cars today. I'm not talking about two-wheelers or three-wheelers or trucks. I'm talking about passenger cars, which is one segment of the overall transportation issues. And that is where the thrust has come And that is one which affects many of us. Of course, there must be two-wheelers and also required for some lower economic level. We'll touch upon that as we go along. So let me come to the introduction. We emit 2,800 million tons every year. And we are ranked number 3, I told you, after China and USA. Out of this, 300 million tons are due to transportation. Two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, ships, aircraft, all put together, train, rail service, everything. So this 300 million tons, which corresponds to transportation, out of that, a significant portion pertains to road traffic or road transportation. Now, government adopted e-mobility in 2014, saying we should shift to electric vehicles. And the decision was taken in 2014 as one of the solutions to reduce emission. And they launched many incentives, many initiatives they took for domestic manufacture of electric vehicles. That's what the government did in 2014-15. As per government's Vahan portal, today, India has 37.3 crore vehicles today. That includes two-wheelers, three-wheelers, cars, trucks, buses, etc. Out of which 14%, that is 5.2 crores, is passenger four-wheel cars. It could be private cars, it could be taxis, etc. And they can be either petrol or diesel or electric. So just remember this number. 5.2 crores of cars are there in India, which may be petrol, diesel, or electric. That is the population today, 5.2 crores. If you look at number of cars per 1,000 people in India, it is only 37. India's got a lot of population. So you can, from that point of view, there are only very few cars per 1,000 population, while world average is above 325. But that's not the issue. We got 5.2 crores of cars in India. Out of this 5.2 crores, this is a very interesting data. 2.4 crores are less than 10 years of age. In the last 10 years, since e-mobility started, there have been 2.5 crores of cars sold in India, while the balance 2.7 is pre-mobility area. So we can draw a line in 2014, and cars which are more than 10 years old are 2.7, less than 10 years old is 2.5. So the government needs to look at first trying to get electric vehicles as substitutes for the aging vehicles, because aging vehicles have to go out of the road. Somebody whose car is very old, he would like to sell it. So when he wants to sell his old car, we should tempt him. We should persuade him to buy an electric vehicle. Then only petrol and diesel cars, which are more polluting than EV, will go off the road. So this is the challenge for the government. With this background, I'll just go to my next presentation. What did government do to make EV is electric vehicle, popular? Government started a new scheme in 2014 called FAME, Faster Adoption and Manufacturing Electric Vehicles. FAME Phase 1 was started in 2014. It went up to 2019, and it had started with a budget of around 800 crores. It supported 2.8 lakh electric vehicles. The catch here is this 2.8 includes scooter, auto rickshaws, it's called e-auto, and cars. They also supported 425 buses and many charging stations, and they also reduced the GST on these cars. So they gave a package to the industry. If you sell a EV to a customer, tax will not be charged, and there'll be some incentive to the manufacturing company. From the government, they will get it, so that they are persuaded to, they are encouraged to produce more electric vehicles. In the phase 2 of FAME, which started from 19 to 24, we just finished in March 24, corresponded to 10,000 crores of outlay, 10 lakh two-wheelers, 5 lakh three-wheelers, 55,000 four-wheelers, and some 7,000 odd buses. All these were supported at reduced GST. And the incentive was given of rupees 10,000 per kilowatt hour. This kilowatt hour is the rating of the battery for all vehicles except for e-buses, which were having a higher incentive. So these incentives were also there, and they set up 4,400 charging stations in many places in India. And in March 24, FAME phase 2 terminated. FAME phase 3, everybody was looking forward to the budget last week, whether government will announce, I'm sorry, not last week, early this week, but the government did not announce FAME phase 3 in the budget. So tax exemption for electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles has been mentioned, is under the consideration of GST Council. So the tax exemption which was there earlier for EV will also come for hybrid vehicles, and this may get approved in GST Council a few months from now. And it also happened in the last 5-6 months that import of Tesla vehicles has not been approved. We all read in the paper a few weeks before election, Tesla vehicles will start getting produced in India. But then later we found that Tesla's project is not coming through. So there is no foreign collaboration for EV production in India. It came to light later. Tesla was looking for only maintenance support and warranty support for their vehicle, which they will bring fully manufactured from abroad and put it in India. And India should sell, and local companies can take the maintenance support. Indian government did not agree to this, and they said, we want to manufacture in India and not buy from your factory fully manufactured one and give it here and we do only maintenance. So this has been the thrust for the government through FAME phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 is not yet started. Now, let us look at how an EV looks like. Many of you may not be familiar. This is the place where the battery is kept in the EV, which drives the motor, which is here. And then the car moves. So the major component or major system in the electric vehicle is a source of electric supply, which is the battery. So let us talk a little more on that. To make battery in India, Ministry of Heavy Industries started a new project. And they said we should have our own design of battery, our own manufacture of battery, so that it can support the e-mobility program. This project has been going on for the last 6-7 years. And 18,000 crores were allotted for this project, titled Advanced Chemistry Cell. Cell means actually battery. So this battery has not yet realized by the project team. And therefore, today what is happening is the components of the battery, like cathode, anode, separator, electrolyte, all these are imported from abroad, and Indian industry assembles them and supplies to our car manufacturer like Tata's or somebody else, or MG cars, and they produce, they put the battery. So the battery is not fully designed in India, not fully manufactured in India, but assembled and tested in India. This factor you should remember. It's assembled and tested in India. So this Indian assembly battery costs almost 50% of the car. Because we are importing, we are paying customs duty. We are importing from a country which is not very considerate to us in trade contracts, that is China. We are mostly importing from China. So we are paying a higher price, we are paying customs duty. And when you put all this together, the battery costs 50% of the car. So if you can get the battery made in India at a lower rate, then EVs will become very close to the price of petrol and diesel cars. At the moment, they are higher and the government is giving concession. That's how it is almost competitive with petrol and diesel cars. Now, we are not able to make these components, battery components, I mean, cathode, anode, etc., in India because we don't have lithium. We don't have cobalt. We don't have mines to give these very important minerals. And that is a serious consideration, serious constraint for us to achieve a higher EV penetration into the market. We are dependent on imports, be it in component level or the full battery. So this is a serious disadvantage. I told you initially, we have got some very serious constraints. This is one of the major constraints. So EV penetration in car sales is low. Let's look at some numbers. If you look at the data of 23-24 and 22-23, I'm only looking at cars. The total number of penetration EV is only 2.3 and 1.3. What it means is, if you sell 100 cars in India, it's only around 2 cars are electric. Balance 98 cars are petrol and diesel. Even today, only 2% cars, if I average it out, is pertaining to electric vehicles. The figures may be different for scooters. We'll have a look at it. So highest is in three-wheeler. You'll be surprised. Three-wheeler, half the three-wheeler sold in India today is EV. It is e-auto, which is very good, 50%. 50% penetration is there in the last 2 years on three-wheelers. In two-wheelers, it is, in the buses it is 6%, two-wheelers only 5%, and car is only at 2%. So 100 scooters you sell in India, only 5 scooters are or motorbikes are electric vehicles. And for cars, it's only less than 2 cars. So the electric vehicles are not really caught the imagination of the market. It could be due to many reasons. We'll see that. But the fact is, they are not only expensive, but also the consumer is not fully convinced that he needs to buy an electric vehicle. If you look at, compare with other countries in India, what is in the red ellipse is India. This is 2030 prediction. India is, I told you, is very, very low now. Out of 37.3 crores of vehicles in India, only 47 lakhs EVs are there, which is just 1.2%. Four-wheelers amount to much smaller amount. So with Indian economy improving, many two-wheelers want to shift to four-wheelers. The family which has been managing with a scooter wants to go to a car. So they are looking at the choice. Should we buy a petrol car, diesel car, or an electric car? Many studies reveal that India's EV penetration is lower than China, EU, USA, Japan, etc. And the study says maximum by 2030, we will achieve only 20% penetration in respect of EV, out of which scooters will be the highest, followed by three-wheelers, then four-wheelers, and lastly buses. So by 2030, 80% of Indian vehicles will be running on petrol and diesel. Just remember, 6 years from now, only 20% can be EV, out of which that percentage will be lowest. I'm saying petrol, diesel will be lowest for scooters, then three-wheelers, then cars, then buses. So you can safely assume that around 85 to 90% of cars will be running on petrol and diesel even by 2030. What is very low now at 2% may become about 10 to 12% in cars by 2030. So our transition to electric vehicles, even though we want to do it for controlling carbon emission, which is required for international commitment, is not happening for many reasons. And let's look at some of the reasons why it is happening that way. But let's also look at what is happening in foreign countries. There are foreign countries like Sweden who says in Stockholm by 2024, by December 24, only EVs, no petrol, diesel. They have already brought in the orders. Just out of interest, I'm saying in Switzerland, the other way down. EVs are banned. Not because of pollution, because they don't have energy to spare for charging EVs. They have a huge energy crisis at this point of time because of the ongoing Russian-Ukraine war. So Switzerland said, please don't use EVs for some time. Use your petrol, diesel only, because we are not able to allocate energy for recharging batteries. But many countries like UK, USA have decided to stop sales of new petrol, diesel from 2030. Europe 2035, France 2040. They have all put their target. We will not sell any more petrol, diesel new cars, and the old cars have to get phased out by these years which I have shown. Simultaneously, to make sure lithium and cobalt is available to automobile industries, and India is #3 in the world in automobile industry, to make sure it's available, they have formed a mineral strategic alliance. About 12 countries, India was included, became 13 countries now, that they make sure the critical minerals are available to these countries for their electric vehicles. It's not only for electric vehicles, it's also for solar panels. But today we are discussing only electric vehicles. So there is a possibility that we may find alternative supply chain sources or supply chain routes other than China for our battery or battery components. But it is still not fructified in a big way. Some shipment has started, but it is not. China is still the major supplier. We also been trying to buy mines abroad in Australia, Congo, Argentina through a newly formed PSU called KABIL. Expansion is given there. And they have not been successful. They have signed some MOU, but we haven't bought a mine yet. So now comes the issue. Let's say you bought mines. You will do mining there with local labor, bring the mine by ship, bring the ore to India by ship, and then you have to refine that ore, for which facility is not there in India, for lithium and cobalt. So we don't have facility to refine the ore, which has to be set up. Or we have to go to another country where the ore can be refined and thereafter brought to India to make the components for the battery. Most of the refining capacity in the world is in China, more than 75%. So whether you get the components from China or you get refined ore from China, with the help of China, you refine the ore, we are going to go through a China route for next 5-6 years for certain, whether KABIL buys a mine or not. This is a serious issue as far as our EV is concerned. We also been trying to get some foreign mining countries to come and commence mining of lithium in our J&K deposits, which was announced some 7-8 months back by the government. Twice it was tendered out. Nobody is coming to do the mining in J&K due to many reasons. ecological, it is mountainous in terrain, local, whatever terrorist activities and various other safety issues. So, but the mining in J&K has not progressed. Government is looking at how to tackle the issue of local mining. But even if you do local mining or you buy from a mine abroad, you still have to go to another country for refining lithium and cobalt till such time you set up your own facilities, which is 5 years from now. Okay. So what the government has done in the budget this week is they have reduced the custom duty of lithium and cobalt and graphite, which is required for EV batteries. So this is a very good proposal. It's in the budget papers. It is not yet approved. Parliament will approve it next week. And then only this new customs duty will come into effect, which means battery components coming from China will be slightly cheaper. I think it is around 7% or 8% now. It will be coming 0% now. So it will be cheaper by about 7%. So your EV battery will become cheaper, car will become cheaper, and therefore EV may become a little more competitive compared to petrol and diesel. So that is one step which has been done in this year by the government. Now, why is the EV penetration not becoming higher in India? There are many challenges. Let us quickly go through it. First is the sale of EV depends on government subsidy. I've already told you that. Even though the operational cost of an EV is cheaper than petrol and diesel, average price of petrol and diesel is about 100 rupees in India, average price, some places more, some places less. So if you look at the fuel cost versus energy cost for charging a battery, EV is cheaper. But there are some other issues. Let's look at it. The price is volatile because of it depends on imports. And I told you some time back, there's no way of getting out of this definitely for next 6 years, there's no way of getting out of this. Battery components have to be imported. I've already told you. There is no global manufacturer of EV having a co-production in India. Nobody has come forward. We thought Tesla will come, but that's not happened. Charging infrastructure. In India, charging infrastructure is inadequately distributed, especially at this point of time. That means the number of people buying EV cars and their concentration in a place, how many charging stations should be there, has been difficult for government to manage because less people are buying and they are not concentrated in one locality. So you find that in India, it is as low as one charger for 21 cars. And 21 cars are not in one building or not in one particular area. They are over perhaps 10 square kilometers. So you have an issue that cars have to do a lot of planning when to charge their batteries vis-a-vis the residual range available in the car. And so this is actually demotivating the already EV buyer, saying, I am facing this problem and I'm not able to get it solved. Then batteries are not common between EV cars. What Tata is producing and what MG is producing, the batteries are not common. Their ampere hours are not common. So you have a problem that you cannot swap batteries or same battery is not used by different models. So there is an issue regarding product support. Resale value of EV is low in India at this point of time. And maintenance of many local garages is not yet consolidated. Every time you have to go to your original car dealer for his service. It's not like you can drive to any other car mechanic and get it fixed if something is wrong on the electric side, because it is still not consolidated. So at this point of time, there is a problem. So government is looking at giving an incentive for scrapping any 15-year-old car. Anything 15-year-old has to be conventional car, because EV was not there before 2014 in India, except some technology demonstration ones. So you want to buy an EV, you scrap your old petrol diesel car, they will give you money extra money for scrapping it, not selling it. You have to scrap it. You have to go to a scrap dealer, give the car, get a certificate from him. He's a recognized dealer. And with that certificate, you will give a discount for buying an EV. It's a good scheme. It was started, I think, 1 year back. But the support we received from the public has not been very good. Now, as I told you earlier, more two-wheeler owners are shifting to four wheels. So there is a demand coming from this shift of ownership from two-wheelers to four-wheelers. So that also has to be catered by the EV company. And non-fossil options like fuel cell and green hydrogen, which are being used in some other countries, especially Japan, Korea, etc., that is still not settled down in India technologically. So that option is not there in India for the time being. The only option we have, immediate option we have, is running it on battery run cars or hybrid cars if you want to use a combination of convention plus battery. With all these constraints in India, petrol and diesel are going to continue for a longer time. I already told you that 90% of the cars will be petrol and diesel in 2030. 90%. Only 10% can be EV. Government wanted 30%, then they reduced to 20%, but I think even that is not going to be achievable. So if you look at this growth of EV in India, maximum is two-wheeler, the green one. Next is three-wheeler. Car is only at maximum 20%, which is what I showed you in the previous slide. So what can government do at this time? You have to maintain the price competitiveness, make the cost of petrol and diesel cars higher. That means you levy tax on them so that is the expensive, more expensive than EV. But you have to make sure EVs are available from the factory, and therefore battery has to be available in good numbers. Scrap old conventional cars. I said 20 years. Earlier, the government has suggested 15 years. There have not been many people wanting to sell away their 50-year-old car. So I think they may change this age to 20 so that there will be some response from the public. Ensure battery import or components. Activate your R&D for manufacture of battery items with lithium and cobalt coming from some purchased mine abroad. So set up the infrastructure for refining lithium and cobalt by an early date. That's a challenge for Ministry of Heavy Industries. Slowly tell the car manufacturers to reduce the production of petrol and diesel and increase that of EVs, so that naturally the price is also going up. Production is also coming down, should be made to come down. Waiting time will be long. So people will go to EV. These are many techniques which the government can try. And slowly introduce a ban on petrol and diesel cars on a progressive basis and make sure the charging stations are there in plenty. In certain urban areas, you identify some urban areas, some cities, may not be metropolitan cities, maybe some tier 2 cities, and then say, here we will not allow you to use petrol diesel cars, and slowly expand the EV penetration. So with this, I come to the conclusion. E-mobility program, which was started in 2014, which is for all put together, is received only 1.2% as of today. As of March 24, it's only 1.2% among India's 37.3 crores of vehicles. Very, very small percentage. And much of this has been achieved by FAME 1 and FAME 2 programs, but budget is silent on FAME 3. EV penetration of two-wheelers has been the highest, followed by three-wheelers, and followed by four-wheelers thereafter. Domestic non-availability of battery is a serious constraint, apart from the fact it is 50% cost of the vehicle. So government has reduced the customs duty in this budget. So it's possible that the price of EV will come down. heavy industries ministry has not been successful in designing and manufacturing lithium-ion battery in India. So I hope success comes their way. Till then, we have to manage with assembly and testing of batteries in India with imported components. I told you the government is looking at the mines abroad, and if that comes, we may be able to set up by 2028 the refining capacity, and by 2030 we will have our own manufactured lithium cobalt battery. Niti Aayog kept a target of 30. It's most unlikely. It is not likely to happen. They have brought, many studies have said it can only be 20%. I personally feel it will be even lower than that. Especially for cars, it cannot exceed more than 10%. Maybe for scooters and three-wheelers, etc., you may go beyond 20%. But cars is going to be, as such, in India, there's an emotional attachment to a car. So people hold on to a car. I'm having this car since my son was in college. Let me hold on to it. Why should I change it? So petrol diesel cars are not thrown away or scrapped by owners in search of EV. So that is another factor which goes against the penetration of EV into the Indian market. As I told you, they can make some tax changes to make EV more competitive, but conventional cars will continue for many more years. Maybe they will curtail the use of conventional cars in certain areas after 2030, saying you cannot use it in some part of Kochi or somewhere else in Trivandrum. You cannot use, you can use only, maybe, I'm not sure how that will happen, but there could be some reason to do that based upon how many people are there in that area and how many charging infrastructure is there, etc. But that is good 5-6 years away, so not immediately. So exit of conventional cars from India is not there for next 20 years as per me, maybe even 25 years. 2047 or 100th year of independence will continue to have a significant percentage of petrol diesel cars on the road in India. It's not going to be significantly low as far as the percentage of population of total cars in India. This will have an impact on the pollution. So sluggish EV penetration would adversely affect India's commitment in COP19 meeting at Glasgow, which the Prime Minister attended, saying we will reduce carbon emission by 1 billion tons, by 2030. You may do it not fully to 1 billion. You may do it to almost 60% at best. Why I'm saying this is, the majority of this pollution is coming from coal used in thermal power. There also much reduction is not coming through, even though you got solar and wind energy coming and progressing well. On the transport side, we have a problem. Nuclear energy is not growing enough because of availability of uranium in India. So that is also limited. So we are not able to stop coal being used for thermal energy in thermal power stations. We are not being able to natural absorption of carbon through afforestation schemes also not have progressed well. So the 2030 timeline for controlling carbon emission, which has got a direct impact on climate situation, is not looking very well for India's case. So there is a requirement for us to relook at what are the fresh targets which we can achieve. Till then, climate control is going to be difficult. We are already experiencing the impact of change monsoon pattern in many places, floods, and many places the rivers are in spate. Sea levels are going up. So series of issues are there, but I hope that they will overcome issue on the pollution caused by transportation at least by 2040, if not by 2047. With this, I come to an end of my presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Jai Hind. So I'm stopping sharing now. I'm ready to take questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. ഇന്ത്യയുടെ എക്കണോമി അതുപോലെ തന്നെ എൻവയോൺമെന്റിനെ പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഏറ്റവും മനോഹരമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പ്രൊവിഷനാണ് EV-യിലൂടെ നമുക്ക് ലഭിക്കുന്നത് എന്ന് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും സാറിന്റെ പ്രസന്റേഷനിലൂടെ മനസ്സിലാക്കാം. ഫെയിം 1 and 2 അത് ഓൾറെഡി സക്സസ്ഫുൾ ആയിട്ട് ഇൻവെന്റ് ചെയ്തു. ഫെയിം 3ലേക്ക് വരുമ്പോൾ ഏകദേശം 20 to 25 yearsൽ ഈ ഒരു ടാർജറ്റ് നമുക്ക് അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. സാറിന്റെ പ്രസന്റേഷനോട് വളരെ കൃത്യമായിട്ട് മനസ്സിലാക്കി. താങ്ക് യു സാർ, താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച്. എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയാനുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ശ്രീമാർ സാർ പറയും.
Actually, it's a very good topic because most of us are very concerned about this usage of cars. Maybe each family is having 2 or 3 cars. According to the family members' strength. But my strong opinion about minimizing this petrol diesel cost is to look on Singapore. I think Singapore is this is what I heard before. Singapore, there is a control on usage of cars by public. Only people up to a salary cross, they can own a car, and below that salary cross, they cannot own a car. And metro cars and metro trains are running everywhere, metro. And in India, if you control this usage of cars, rationing it for only for a few, and introduce metros in all cities, mainly Mumbai, Calcutta, Chennai, and these major cities, and other cities like small satellite cities and all. If you bring a metro and electric trains, these things may be controlled in a large extent. That's what I feel. So you have to strictly control the usage of cars by laws. You cannot own a car if you don't have the need for it, or you don't have the capacity, or don't have the salary level that government fixed.
Sri Kumar, you have to refer Constitution. You have to refer Constitution whether you can curb
should
right
be
of someone in possessing a car. So what the government has done, so let us flag 2-3 points. They are trying to make metro in as many cities as possible, so that in urban city areas there is a public transport available, which is meeting the requirement, so that people don't have to necessarily move by private. Second, in many places they have gone for arterial connections of roads. Take the case of Sea-Link, Atul Setu, 21 kilometers bridge over the sea in Bombay has been made. And today it cuts down traffic, driving time by nearly 70% for a person coming by car from suburb of Bombay to South Bombay. He doesn't have to spend 2 hours. He can come within 25 to 30 minutes through this bridge which is over the sea. So government is looking at, now the coastal road is going to
voice broken.
People are being discouraged from using the car. They can own a car, but they are not required for using a car for regular requirements. You also said about families having more than one car. Yes, in Singapore, you can't buy a car unless you have a parking area. Am I right?
Yes.
No. So you cannot buy a car unless you have a space, parking garage space available. So I think we have gone beyond all that. 37 crore cars in India. It's a huge number. I'm not saying cars. 37.3 vehicles in India. India country is also big. Population is also big. So I do not see pollution coming down due to transports in the next 20 years. It may come down a little bit, but not much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Yes, Hariharan sir. Unmute. Unmute.
Yes.
Ah,
In Indian economy, automobile industry is a major factor. Here, because not only the industry proper, ancillary industries, unorganized sector, it creates a lot of job creation. So it's a very delicate question. If you want to ease out the fossil-driven vehicles, it affects the industry. Not industry, the job. We are already having only less job. More jobs will be lost. Of course, the substitute will come once you introduce the electric vehicles, EVs. But then all these are capital. Unless you have got a capital, it's difficult to start the ancillary units also. So that's
right.
one of the major reasons. So we can't have a what you call within 10 years or 20 years we have to do it like that. We can only do it slowly. Dr. Srimar പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ കാർ വാങ്ങിക്കാൻ വെച്ചാൽ അത് കണ്ണം പറഞ്ഞ് കറക്റ്റാണ്. നാളെ പാർലമെന്റ് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷന്റെ ബുക്കുമായിട്ട് വന്നിരിക്കും. കാർ വാങ്ങിക്കാൻ പാടില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കും. See, there's no point in comparing our country with a country like Singapore. Singapore, ട്രിവാൻഡ്രത്തിന്റെ ഒന്നര പാർട്ടേ ഉള്ളൂ ട്രിവാൻഡ്രത്തിന്റെ. പിന്നെ there is no automobile industry in Singapore. എല്ലാം ഇമ്പോർട്ടഡ് കാറാണ്. അവർക്ക് അതിനെ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ എളുപ്പമാണ്. ഇമ്പോർട്ട് ടാക്സ് കൂട്ടി വെച്ചാൽ മതി, ഒരുത്തരും കാർ വാങ്ങിക്കാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. നമുക്ക് അങ്ങനെയല്ല. കാറിന്റെ കൂട്ടുന്നത് സൂക്ഷിക്കുന്ന വെച്ചാൽ ഇറ്റ് അഫക്ട്സ് ദി ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി. ഇഫ് ഐ ആം നോട്ട് മിസ്റ്റേക്കൺ, about 5 to 10% of our job creation is from this the automobile industry.
It's one of the leading industries in India.
Not only auto industry, the ancillary units.
That's right. It's all a part of that.
നമ്മുടെ ഏരിയയിലൊക്കെ എത്ര വർക്ക്ഷോപ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. ഓരോ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പ് എൻഗേജിങ് 4 or 5 people. More than 1 lakh workshops on India മുഴുക്കെ. So if you ease out this fossil driven car, those people are thrown out of the job.
No, I agree. So
അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല എന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നില്ല. It's a Herculean task. It's not that easy to ease out the fossil driven car. Yes, we have got commitment, international commitment is there, fuel ഒക്കെ കുറയ്ക്കാനുള്ളത്. പക്ഷേ country like India, road transport is one of the നമ്മുടെ ഇൻഫ്രാസ്ട്രക്ചർ ആവശ്യമുള്ളതാണ് ഡെവലപ്മെന്റ്.
Right. So one of the ways of reducing the whole thing is about pollution, carbon emission. So one of the ways of reducing carbon emission is that, okay, you live with petrol and diesel cars for some more time, but the amount it is used is made less by providing free flow of traffic, by having wider roads, by having flyovers, by having various other network of roads, so that people are able to move faster and don't spend too much time on the road and continue to pollute. So that is one way of looking at it. I agree with you. MSMEs who are involved in manufacture of components required for petrol, diesel cars, a huge number. There's a huge ecosystem. So there is a need for us to go into much more details on this. And I think the government is not pushing this point very much. This is my impression I get after seeing phase 3 has not been extended. They stopped with phase 2 and they only reduced the customs duty because there's no hurry for us to reduce the petrol diesel cars because it will affect employment. It will affect various working of it will affect the economy as well because of MSMEs who are involved in this and non-organized sector which is supporting these cars by repair workshops and service stations, etc. So it will take some time for this to happen. And on top of it, we don't have battery to make EVs. We are dependent on imports. It's a huge constraint. I don't see any way ahead in that. Definitely not till 2030. Even if you buy mines abroad and then refine it and make your own battery. So go slow on petrol diesel cars. So those of you who want to buy a car now, don't hesitate between petrol and this thing. Go ahead and buy whatever car you want. Don't get worried about the fact after some time petrol may not be available or diesel may not be available. It is going to be a fact that petrol and diesel will become more expensive.
The battery, I am told, is not that accident-free, but a damage or explosion battery.
Yeah, that is basically because of wrong use. Because you overcharge a battery, then
right.
you find the batteries they explode. Very often it is due to
petrol pump battery
but public awareness has to increase also to make sure the battery-driven cars are more safe, not only in their operations but also during their maintenance and charging time, etc. Yeah.
Yes, വേറെ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും എന്തെങ്കിലും? രാജു sir, റോയ് sir, ബാബുരാജൻ. In a topic, electric car.
How many people are there who are owning electric cars in this group?
Anybody else? ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ electric car?
So that answers the question. The 90, I told you. Today it is
cost is higher,
95%.
sir. That is the first reason. Cost is higher. Then handling, some fear is there. Some insecurity feeling is there. We told them.
No. It is very safe. There's no problem with electric cars. And it's much more smoother drive. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like electric scooters.
Yeah, scooters, electric scooters.
Concerns most of the people are aware of the difficulties in having an electric car.
No, as I see the difficulty, I listed out there, resale is less and charging station is a problem, not next door available. So these are problems of when you're inducting a new type of technology.
I can tell you, in Trivandrum, charging station. വൈകുന്നേരം 7 മണിക്ക് പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ 100 ഓട്ടോ റിക്ഷയെങ്കിലും കിടക്കും ഇലക്ട്രിക്. ഒറ്റ സ്ഥലമേ ഉള്ളൂ ചാർജ് ചെയ്യാൻ. അവിടെയുണ്ട്, പിന്നെ കരമനയുടെ അടുത്തുണ്ട്.
See, Hari, the same problem was there 15 years back when auto rickshaws were started running on CNG.
Yes.
Compressed natural gas.
I have experience at Bangalore.
You were in Delhi at the same time, perhaps. I've seen it in Delhi. People line up for getting their bottles charged because there were only 1 or 2 petrol pumps which were having CNG. Over a period of time, it started increasing. So when you have technology induction, there are certain disadvantages in upkeep and reliable support. Yeah, Roy, you want to say, ask him?
Introduction of smoke testing is for the purpose of this carbon emission control. Okay, but no use.
No use means?
People are there is no value in this testing. they may get
No.
tested.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. You will find many vehicles which are not emitting very clean exhaust. But as per rules, you cannot get your insurance extended unless you have a pollution-free certificate. So if the insurance company is not following the rules, then you will have such problems. You cannot today. I'll tell you a reason. Last week, I got a SMS from Vahan portal. Your car pollution certification will expire in 10 days' time. Please get it tested. So I went and got it tested, and I asked him, after testing it, will it go to Vahan portal? He said, yes. In 1 week's time, it will go to Vahan's portal. So there are many methods by which, suppose your pollution-free certification is not there, some of the legal cover which you will have for you will get diluted if your car is not tested for it. A citizen also should do his job. Carbon emission does not depend only on the government. All of us as citizens should do our bit, our small bit.
I mean,
Sir,
the genuinity of this testing result. Anybody is denied by this testing.
Sir, pollution testing ഒത്തിരി പാരാമീറ്റേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ട്, അതിനകത്ത് കൃത്യമായിട്ട് പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. അത് പിടിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പ്രശ്നമാവുകയും ചെയ്യും.
See, we are still following BS6 norms for this thing. But there are many ways you can do it. I can go for emission test and bribe that guy. He will take the exhaust from another car which is parked there. Yes. Okay. And take the photograph of my car.
Yes.
And that exhaust will be put up. There are many ways you can change this.
സാറേ, ഈ ഇലക്ട്രിക് കാറിലേക്ക് ഇതിന് മാർക്കറ്റ് വരുത്താൻ വേണ്ടി ഒരു നല്ല ഒരു അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെന്റിന്റെ ആവശ്യമുണ്ട്. കാരണം നിങ്ങളുടെ പ്രസ്റ്റീജ് ആണ് ഇലക്ട്രിക് കാർ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു രീതിയിൽ ഒരു മോട്ടിവേഷൻ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആളുകൾ ഇച്ചോടെ പൊസസീവ് ആയിക്കോളും.
സാബു, അത് പറയാനുള്ള സ്റ്റാൻസ് എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല ഗവൺമെന്റ്. We don't have batteries in the country. We are importing batteries or battery components. So till such time you have some self-sufficiency in that, self-reliance in that, your stand cannot be strong. If China decides not to support you with the batteries,
product is not certain. A product is certainty illa. പക്ഷെ കമ്പാരിറ്റീവ്ലി ഈ ടാറ്റയുടെ കറസ്പോണ്ടിങ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഇലക്ട്രിക് വെഹിക്കിൾസിന്റെ ഒക്കെ എണ്ണം കമ്പാരിറ്റീവ്ലി വളരെ വളരെ കൂടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ടാറ്റ
I showed you the data. It's only 2% of cars sold in India today are EV. If 100 cars are sold, only 2 electric vehicles in the whole India.
See, government vehicle vaangikana electric vehicle vaangikkavunu parayanam.
See, many things have to come like this. So the government has started giving incentive for the buyer. Now institutionally they will have to look at some other ways of supporting the electric vehicles, either through some subsidy in insurance or what I forgot to tell you, there's no road tax levied for electric vehicle.
Yes.
It is free. So many methods have been thought of to make electric vehicle popular, which has not happened. But now we have come to stage, it has started hurting us on our other commitments towards climate control. Yeah, any other question?
Yes.
Philip, mute you. Unmute you, sir.
Let me ask, what is the main reason why people are not choosing electric cars? Because of the price? Why the price is very, very high compared to the petrol cars? Why the price is so much high? I was not here in the beginning of the session. Is it because of the battery?
No. So till March 24, there was an incentive program from government that they will subsidize the cost of electric car to a certain extent, and that money will go to the manufacturer, who will therefore sell the car to you at a lower price. So today, electric cars and diesel cars are almost the same, but electric cars are still more. Because
we don't have
electric cars
to
are
fill petrol later, no? People have to see this.
so
Once
operational
we buy
cost
the
of electric car is lower. So if you buy
It's
an
very
electric
low.
car at a higher price, in 2 years' time, you already made up for that higher capital investment because your operational cost is less. So there is merit in going for electric as far as a citizen is concerned. But there are other difficulties which I told you. Charging infrastructure is not near his house or nearby place. He has to do booking in advance for a charging. Charging, if you don't charge, it can run only some 300 kilometers or 400 kilometers, depending on the model of the car. It's not like petrol car, you just top up and keep on driving. So new technology which has come, there are some issues which have not got solved satisfactorily. Primarily because our country is very big, there are too many people and too many cars and too many old cars. People are not leaving their old car, they're holding on to it, which is causing problem with the pollution side. So it is a problem with multiple issues, but we need to tackle it. And how it will get tackled, I am not very sure before 2030. I think it will take at least 2040. My estimate is it will be even beyond 2040 before we can have a reasonable percentage. At least half the cars can be electric. I'm talking of cars mostly. I'm not talking of two-wheelers. Can be in India. Anything else, Sabu?
Any more questions? Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much once again.
Okay, can I leave?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Good night. Thank you.
Bye.